What's up guys, welcome back to Spare Change. Today I've got War for the Planet of the Apes on 4K and 3D Blu-ray. I won't get into plot details, but it does involve some talking monkeys. I'll be discussing the video in audio quality, but first, let's do this unboxing. Now for some tech specs. The movie was shot in 6.5K. It has a 2K DI. Runtime is 140 minutes. It's rated R. Aspect ratio is 235:1. So if you're watching on a television, you'll get those black bars on the top and on the bottom. Now 4K image quality is fantastic. Right from the opening shot, you could easily make out the sharp, clean textures of the surrounding forest environment and the folds and creases of the soldiers' uniforms. Resolution was extremely sharp. Close-ups of the apes' hair looked real and individual strands were clearly resolved. When the apes are sitting outside in the rain, you could easily make out the raindrops, which would fall on the arms and interact with their fur. That's the kind of minute detail you can pick up in this transfer. The up-close facial shots on the apes looked ridiculously crisp and so realistic you'd swear these apes were actually talking or they were using practical effects. HDR usage here was on the reserved side. This isn't a colorful film, so don't expect huge splashes of color anywhere. Most of it does take place in the dark, so HDR usage does help bring out that little bit of lower level shadow detail. In Chapter 5, when the soldiers drop in the ape's lair at night, you do get some bright highlights from those laser pointers on the soldiers' guns. And in Chapter 23, there are some great vibrant explosions as the choppers start firing. Some of the sweeping shots on the beach looked fantastic, richly colored, and very cinematic. I did look for some banding in the sky here, and I noticed none. Now, whereas the second Apes movie was shot natively in 3D, this one is a post-conversion. The 3D here did have some very good depth and had some very convincing layers. There were a few times it did have that cardboard cutout look to it, but it wasn't enough to take me out of the film. The detail was just as good as on the standard Blu-ray, but obviously it's a little bit softer than the 4K version. Now, seeing how most of the film is shot in the dark, I thought it lost some dimensionality in those darker scenes, and the blacks did get a little bit muddy. I also didn't see anything that ever popped out of the screen barrier either.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Like most 3D releases nowadays, this one only comes with a DTS HD 7.1 mix, which is a bit of a bummer, but it still sounded excellent with great sound staging and forceful bass when needed. Now the 4K version gets a proper Dolby Atmos soundtrack that I thought matched the visuals perfectly. Right in the opening chapter, you're greeted with the sounds of the forest engulfing the entire soundstage, which places you right out there with the soldiers. And when the arrows start flying, they're coming from all directions, above, below, and landing in every lower speaker. Chapter 23 had some great directional effects when the helicopters start flying in with gunshots and explosions going off in the distance. Chapter 25's massive explosion will give your subwoofer a serious workout, and be prepared for the avalanche in Chapter 26. The low frequency extension here is definitely demo worthy. Soundstage throughout is really expansive with detailed ambient forest sounds in the height and lower channels, and they're always active and always present. The musical score was detailed, robust, and really helped to bring a real emotional impact to the film. Bass response went deep and hit hard during the action sequences, and dialogue was clear and had good weight to it, so no issues there. So for audio quality, I'd have to go with an 8.5. This isn't a huge action movie with things flying everywhere, but it really does shine with the atmospherics and a wonderful musical score. 3D audio gets an 8, just like the Atmos version, with a little less of that bubble of surround sound that Atmos gives you. 3D video quality, I'd have to go with a 7.5. There's some excellent depth here, but I thought the dark nature of the film kind of reduced the 3D effect for me. For 4K quality, I'd have to go with a 9. Even though it has a 2K DI, which I know some of you hate, I think you'd be really hard pressed to tell the difference between 2K or 4K DI here. The image was sharp and super clean with no film grain. So all you film grain haters, you guys can rejoice. There's no huge splashes of color, but clarity-wise, I thought it was demo-worthy and definitely worth a buy. Now, if you'd like to pick up this film, I left a link in the description down below, along with the associated gear I used for this review. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, follow us on social media, and if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys again in the next video.